Nothing contained in this podcast should be considered a substitute for professional medical advice. This content does not represent our respective employers and is purely the opinion of the podcast hosts. We are not your personal medical providers. Sorry, friends. So, if you have concerns or are seeking a diagnosis or treatment, please seek individual advice from a healthcare provider in your area. We are not liable for any risks associated with acting upon the information contained in this podcast. This is intended for educational and entertainment purposes only, so enjoy the ride.
Please drink responsibly and in moderation. Before drinking, please be sure to be of the legal drinking age for your country. We do not encourage the misuse of alcohol.
Welcome to Medical Media Mixer, the perfect cocktail. I'm Nicole Peniston, psychologist.
And I'm Tara Prisco, physician assistant. Do you like my official counting down duties?
I did. I liked
for you.
I especially liked when you pointed at me as if I didn't know it was my turn. When it's your turn to go first, you're going to point at yourself? I mean, I always intro, but still.
Yeah, you always intro, so it's always you. But I have no training in audio or radio or anything. We're making it up as we go.
We are, and we're doing just fine.
That's okay.
Yeah.
So we got to see each other in person last night, eat a yummy dinner.
We did. It was lovely. Hopefully I seemed professional enough and like I knew what the hell I was talking about.
You definitely did. And we went out with a drug rep dinner. I won't give the deets on the company, but we may cover their disease state at some point.
Yeah.
I have to find
the whole company has a disease is what you're saying.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. And there was literally almost tornado looking windy craziness happening when we were about to go in.
I'm still thinking about those poor horses. So as I was driving from my workplace to where the restaurant was, I passed several horse farms. And there were all these horses were freaking out because it was so windy out and you could tell a storm was rolling through. And this one horse farm was a little pony, running circles around its mommy.
So sad.
Yeah. And I was this poor thing is probably Mom, what's happening?
What is going on here?
I know.
Yeah. I mean, some trees did go down, but luckily we didn't lose any power. So I know my mom did lose power.
She got it back though.
I think so.
Good.
As far as I know. So what else? Oh, we're going into Memorial Weekend. So we are recording this. We're always 4 weeks ahead, people. So it is the unofficial start to summer for New Jersey. But it's going to be cold and rainy. So yay.
And you know what?
Lovely.
That's okay because we had our little heat wave and I wasn't loving it. I just don't think I was mentally prepared for summertime
it came out of nowhere.
weather yet. Yeah.
Yeah. It came out of nowhere. So we opened our pool, but it's still being cleaned and all that. So hopefully when the weather clears later, whenever, we can use it. But as far as a rainy indoor activity, down in the town right next to mine that has a cute little downtown, there is a pinball speakeasy that just cut ribbon cutting to open for this weekend. So if it is rainy and it's something you can take kids to, I'm considering trying to do something like that to get out of the house for a rainy day activity.
That sounds like fun. We also need either you and your kids or me and you and your kids. I need to go to the Dirty Soda restaurant that opened up in your...
Oh, yes. I haven't been there either.
I have given in to the Dirty Soda craze.
You have?
I have. I'm not loving some of the places by us, McDonald's has it now, Dunkin', Panera.
Oh, I saw Dunkin'. Yeah.
I haven't tried Dunkin's, didn't love McDonald's, but Coffee Mate, who kind of makes a lot of those soda mixers. If you look on Amazon, they sell the ones specifically for soda in bulk. So I bought them a month ago and I've made my own at home and I like it better because you can kind of put as much in as you want.
Add what you want. Yeah. It's so funny. It's just like the froyo places. They all pop up everywhere.
I love the froyo places.
I know.
I miss TCBY.
That's really bringing it back. Yes.
That was my jam. I loved that place.
Yeah, but the build your own froyo and then you'd weigh it at the end and you'd be oops, because they pay by the pound with all the toppings.
See, I can't go to those places because I'm not good at decision making. I'll be I want this flavor and then I want this and I want this. And I'm oh, that's gross. What did I do? So I can't do those places unless I have a very specific in mind.
Yeah. I don't put gummies or things like that on ice cream. I keep it classic. Things that go with chocolatey and stuff like that.
Makes sense.
Anything else upcoming for you this weekend on the rainy weekend?
Get my nails did tomorrow. Getting a hair color.
Oh yeah, you said your hair.
Freshen up on Sunday. I am in the process of potentially looking for a new home. So I have a couple on my list that I just want to drive past the area, see what the vibe is
get a feel. Yeah.
Because there was a place that's doing new construction And like the house, the construction, the like options looked amazing. But then I drove to the area and I'm like, no.
Oh, wow. See, that's deceiving.
Well, no,
Yeah.
it is marketed as affordable housing. So I feel like that was like a nice way of saying like low income area, which like low income areas can be nice. But this particular one
was not
it's
so
like
much.
really close to like a major highway. So it's not very quiet.
Yeah. No.
And I feel like eventually they're probably going to like regentrify the area, bring in more businesses or like support the small businesses that are there, but it's just not there right yet.
Yeah, no.
And so
you
I don't
want to be the first.
Right,
I mean,
I don't-
it's cheapest to be the first, but
right.
you then, you know.
And like I don't hate the area. I just like you also know like when you go somewhere and you just get a vibe that like this is not for me. That was the feeling.
No, I totally got you.
Yeah.
I mean, house buying is like a stressful thing.
Yeah,
At least in
it
my
is.
experience, it is. This is the third house I've purchased, and we've been here for 13 years and hoping to stay here till the kids are out of college at least.
Yeah. I mean, for me, the main reason to move, the big main reason is my stairs. I have fallen down my stairs multiple times. And then I know that I have joint issues. So stairs in the long run are not going to be good for me.
Yeah.
And then my one neighbor on one side, they're very loud, but they don't do anything. But they're also like the fourth family to live in that unit since I moved in, and it's always loud. So I think it's just really poor insulation on that side. So I would prefer not to share walls anymore.
Right.
So those are kind of my two goals. But otherwise, I don't need something like giant. I don't need a McMansion. I mean, if someone gave me one, I'm not going to say no.
Yes. Hell yeah.
I don't need it. I need like my space or just slightly bigger, but nothing outrageous.
Yeah.
And a fenced-in backyard so I can get a puppy.
Yes, for sure.
I need a puppy.
You got to think of all the names that you can name the puppy.
I've got so many names. So I really like the name Pumpkin. I think that's so cute, right? Especially if I got like a little Shiba Inu and he's a little like orangey red.
Yes.
Pumpkin. Yeah. I've had a lot of names. I'm a big coffee fan, so I thought a lot of coffee themed names like Pumpkin Spice.
Yes.
Or like macchiato. Pistachio sounds like an adorable name for a puppy. Yeah. So I've done a lot of thinking. For some reason, I'm coming up with a lot of food names, which all of my life, all of my pets have been named like people names. So this is like a departure for me.
Yeah. That's interesting. Well, now we got to get the house so we can get the dog.
Yeah. I don't know if you knew this. Do you know what my very first dog's name was?
I only know the one that I know. Awesome.
My very first dog's name was Tara.
You did tell me this.
Yes.
Now I remember this.
She was a cute Cocker Spaniel, and she was brown, but she was sick, so she was not with us for very long. But Tara was my very first puppy.
Oh, now I'm your puppy.
You are. I mean, you have.
I laugh at your jokes.
Your hair color is very similar to what color her coat was. So
I see your drink is blue.
It is. So it's yet another failed attempt at color changing. But in my defense, it didn't color change because I didn't have the exact ingredient. I tried to fudge it and it didn't work. It's fine.
That's okay. Well, blue, I feel like, I don't know what the name of your drink exactly is, but I know blue kind of feels like it goes with your topic. I don't know.
Every single one of these ingredients has a specific reason why it's in there.
Because AI told you so?
Yes. Yeah.
I love the commentary. It's like, this brings in the essence of this and the drama of that.
Yeah, I have what it represents or symbolizes. Yeah, got that whole thing. So maybe I should get into my cocktail?
Sure.
Yeah. So the name of my cocktail is called the Ethereal Mind.
Ooh.
And it is, according to BarGPT, not ChatGPT, BarGPT, it is inspired by the complex and multifaceted nature of mental illness, aiming to convey a sense of understanding, sensitivity, and reflection.
That's a deep cocktail right there.
Okay, I will say I made it according to the directions, and my glass is not particularly large, but I had to make it a double, and it's not even filled all the way to the top.
Okay.
So,
so
let me take a sip, and then I'll tell you the ingredients. Buckle up, because this is because every ingredient has an explanation. So 1.5 ounces of vodka, which represents clarity and strength. I guess. 0.5 ounces of blue curacao, which symbolizes depth and complexity of emotions. 1 ounce of white cranberry juice for purity and simplicity. 0.5 ounces of lemon juice that adds brightening in the midst of challenges. Brightness in the midst of challenges. There we go.
There we go.
0.25 ounces of lavender syrup. Words are hard today.
It's okay. We got this.
0.25 ounces of lavender syrup to add a calming effect, promoting relaxation. And then I was supposed to use a dash of butterfly pea flower extract for color change, symbolizing the shifting nature of mental health states. I didn't have extract, but I had the actual seeds. So I sprinkled a couple in there, didn't do a damn thing.
Yeah. And well, is it supposed to be purple or pink? Because if you add lemon, it turns pink.
It's supposed to be purple and blue, and it's just all blue. But that's okay.
That's okay.
And then a dash of edible glitter to represent the sparks of joy and creativity that can exist amidst struggles. You were supposed to garnish with a sprig of lavender or a lemon twist. I didn't have any of those.
No, that's okay.
And attach a small card to the glass with a message of support for mental health awareness. I don't need to write myself a card about mental health.
Yeah, really. You are mental health.
Let's not put that. Let's not put all that on me.
No, but like helping mental health.
It would be cute though, like if you were having some sort of theme party and this was like your signature cocktail, that would be cute.
Yeah, I could see that. But
yeah, so that's my drink. But as I said, I have a regular standard size coupe glass and it barely filled half of it. So I made mine essentially a double. I just put a little bit more white cranberry juice in the second version of it and a little bit less vodka just because I didn't want to be too drunk tonight. Drunk. So yeah, but it's pretty tasty.
Yeah, all the ingredients sound like they'd be nice.
Yeah. So that is the name of my cocktail. And what I'm going to talk about today is something that's kind of new in the news in the last 6 to 8 months, but it's AI psychosis. So have you heard of this before?
Other than the title of your stuff? No. I mean, is it like believing that they're like really like your friend, essentially?
Yes and no. So my inspiration for this is, so there's an episode of that show that I love, Brilliant Minds, which I've talked about many times, which P.S. did not get renewed. So I'm mad. I'm pissed off. I'm pissed. Yeah. So it is about episode 213 of Brilliant Minds. And in this episode, they follow one particular young woman who she's in college age. She lives in what appears to be like a sorority house. Just because they're all in college, they all kind of live together, they're friends, but it doesn't seem like it's like a standard dorm. I think it's more of a sorority house. But I think from the start, and I don't know if this is to lay the groundwork for what happens later, but she kind of keeps to herself. So that's why I was like, wait, is she actually in the sorority? Or like, is it just like a house that a bunch of college kids rent?
Right.
It's not integral to the plot, so it's fine. But anyway, we see that she's kind of not going out with her friends, kind of avoiding things, seeming very, very anxious. And then you see her sitting down to start some work for a class and consulting AI for some support with that particular project, which I wish we had AI when I was in college.
Seriously.
I would have done a lot less work.
Well, even like just teach me this math, please. Yeah. Thank you. Or explain this better to me.
So you can tell right away that she's pretty reliant on AI and throughout clips. And so she's just one part of the plot line of this particular episode, but she's the main plot line. So you see throughout various clips that she not only consults AI for help with homework or assignments, but also like, hey, like help me put together an outfit to like go out tonight, or like asking a lot of questions. And some of them are kind of deep, more psychological questions that she in theory should be talking with a therapist about. But we come to find out that her sister is very sick. And so she's doing a lot of AI research about her sister's illness and finding information. And I don't remember, I don't even think they explicitly say what her major is, but she's definitely into something more like scientific, but like quantum mechanics, that kind of thing. Like she does a lot of very technical work like that. So at one point, she's just acting stranger and stranger, but you're not quite sure why. And then it gets to the point where she's kind of just not responding at all, essentially catatonic. And so everybody's like her roommates, I'll call them, are kind of like, what the hell's wrong with her? Like, what's going on? So they bring her to the hospital. And she's kind of going in and out of catatonia where like she'll respond, but it's not really making sense or in context of anything that's going on. So of course, in pure house style, they admit her to the hospital and under investigation and observation. And of course they go to like her dorm room to like look around because that's how it works. Like doctors at the hospital will go to your dorm room.
Of course, on House
and look around.
Brilliant Minds. And of course.
Yeah. So when they do this, and I like this because as a viewer, and I don't know if it was intentionally set up this way, but as a viewer, you're like, that's what's causing it. And then you're like, nope. There's a twist later. But
of course,
they go poking around in her room. Number one, she has a giant room in this house, like gorgeous room, huge walk-in closet. And they go into her closet and there's some sort of machine and it has a countdown. And so
it's a bomb.
they're concerned that it's a bomb, but when they look a little closer, they see that it's not a bomb. It's just some sort of timer.
Okay.
But like, it's not like hooked up to anything.
But she's like a super smart something and
Right.
she built this. Okay.
So now they're kind of like, well, what the hell is this? Like, is it supposed to be a bomb eventually? What is going on?
It's the Matrix taking over the world and you know.
Well, girl. So after a lot of mishaps and confusion and odd, incoherent responses from her, we come to find out that through actually, they also sees her laptop, go through all of her chats, all of her AI chats.
Yep.
And they literally have something like a couple thousand pages of her AI interactions over time. So clearly she's using AI for more than just help with homework and little things. Like this is her go-to. And so they find out through reading through that she is very interested in, like I was saying before, quantum physics and alternate realities and things like that, but also very worried about her sister because they're very close. And essentially AI tells her that her sister is dying, and through the use of quantum physics, she can go back in time and prevent whatever happened to make her sister sick and die.
So there's time travel now. Okay.
So yes, well, this is what AI is telling her, but she's believing it. And so basically she's falling down this rabbit hole. And you can tell even from the start when she's not like fully out of it that she's under a lot of stress. So, and that's really what the perfect cocktail is, no pun intended, for this, is that if you're under a lot of stress, you're kind of isolated, you've already developed this relationship with AI, you're more likely to believe what it's saying. And then she already had kind of these both fringe beliefs, but also it's literally what she's studying. So It's like, well, yeah, it could happen. It kind of connects to this stuff. So that's how she falls into what we eventually name AI psychosis and then catatonia due to that AI psychosis. Takes them a long time to figure that out. And then they really, really rush through how to fix it, which I don't think is quite as quick and dirty as they say. But essentially it's through more intensive mental health services and helping her really talk through like, what was your mentality, all of this other stuff. One thing that comes up in the plot line that kind of helps her snap out of it is she finds out that this illness that her sister has is not fatal. Some people who have it can be, but her sister is not one of those cases. And it actually comes from, now she's in the hospital and her sister comes and rushes to see her and they kind of put all these pieces together. And her sister's like, dude, I'm not dying. Like, I'm going to be fine. Like, yes, I'm sick and I have to go through treatment, but like, this is not supposed to be fatal. Like, we're okay. And that kind of shines a light on reality for her. And they don't say that it happens overnight. It is, condensed to make it seem like it is over some time that she is able to kind of return to her own sanity and reality testing and limit her exposure to AI. So that's AI psychosis. Now, you're probably like, well, that sounds fun for a TV show, but that's not real.
Right.
Unfortunately, it is.
How new is this?
Yeah. So basically, it's a little elevated from that. It's something that's been around for some time. We're just now associating it with other things. And that's just a delusion. Lots of people can have delusional thoughts and thinking, and then that can lead to some delusional behavior. But a delusion in and of itself is not new. This is just a delusion connected to something that AI told you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So like, I think what a lot of people think of delusions are like, so-and-so thinks he's like the king of England. Like, well, yes, that's a type of delusion. That's a delusion of grandiosity. But there's many types of delusions. And some of them can be a little bit more reality-based. Like when we talked forever ago about Morgellons, and they were saying how that could be a type of delusion where someone believes that they have a skin disorder. So that's another type of delusion where there might be some fact to it. They may have really bad acne or they might have a rash or something, but then it's developed into this delusional thinking that there's something more to it.
Got it.
So this is not as odd as it sounds, because if you think of how much time people spend using AI these days, and if you're already isolated, under a lot of stress, if you already have some existing mental health issues, I think it's pretty easy to fall into that trap of agreeing with AI tells you.
Right. Of course.
Like, I mean, and this is just to be like flippant and silly, but like you believe that AI makes you good cocktails. Like,
right.
And like, that's not delusional. Like sometimes we have a good cocktail, sometimes we don't. It's not a delusion, but I think if you're in the right state of mind, I think you could easily slip into this. And it connects to how there's been a lot of talk for a long time about internet addiction and things like that. I think it does all feed into multiple factors. And the big one is a lot of these people already have underlying anxiety or depression. So they're already not in a good state, maybe not getting the mental health treatment or support that they need. They may be socially isolated either due to the anxiety or depression or because of some other reason, societal factors. Maybe they just don't have a lot of friends, or in this girl's case, she moved away to go to college, so she's not near family. So I think this combination of things can really lead someone down a rabbit hole, and they may not even realize it until something extreme happens. So obviously the case in this show is a very extreme version of that. But I think lots of people maybe have some AI delusions that maybe just aren't impacting their life day to day, but they fall down that rabbit hole.
Right.
And I'm not going to go into it in this episode, but that's what a lot of people say happened when they really got invested in QAnon, was that they started believing that stuff. And some of this stuff was patently untrue. Some of it is still question mark, TBD. But I think these experiences are far more common than we realize. But we all kind of are like, well, that would never happen to me. Like, I'm not stupid enough to think that. Like the example in the show, this woman was very intelligent. She wasn't stupid. She wasn't gullible. It was just the right amount of factors, the right amount of things occurring all at once to make her fall down this rabbit hole and not be able to get herself out.
Like you said, that piece of truth, a little bit of, okay, my sister's sick.
Right.
Yes, some people can be this sick. It really does. And then you said, like, her research, whatever she was working on, is just enough truth to make it feel plausible.
Yeah. And so in the show notes, there'll be a couple of links to similar discussions, but there's going to be one link that's just about the episode, and there's another link about a different podcast called Psychiatry and Psychotherapy that talks about this episode and kind of what to look out for. And they call it something a little bit different. They call it delusional amplification associated with ChatGPT and LLM chatbot use. So an LLM is a large language model chatbot. So that's like Claude, ChatGPT, all of those things now. But if you think about it, like you can go to like Amazon. Amazon has a chatbot.
Now, I know.
Yeah.
Everything does.
So
everything.
I think, hopefully nobody's getting psychosis from the Amazon chatbot, but it's the same idea. It's somebody giving you a lot of information, as much information as you want, and continuing that dialogue as long as you initiate it.
Right.
Which that goes back to that social piece of some people are very lonely and very isolated, and AI becomes their friend.
Well, yeah. I mean, because you can have it speak to you like with a voice instead of just type back. And you can make that voice sound how you want it to sound. Like you can have your phone, announce your directions by a certain voice, same kind of thing. And it can feel warm and inviting.
Yeah. But not even the auditory aspect of it. The more you use it, the more familiar it becomes with you and what you need.
It learns. Yeah.
And so it is essentially, AI is crafted to be your friend.
Yeah.
And it never asks anything of you. There's even one really, it's actually a very sad part of the episode where she's engaging with the chat. They do it all like auditory, but you know that she's typing, but like they read it out loud.
Right.
And of course, like she has the AI has a very lovely voice and is very caring. But at one point, I think the chatbot like asks her, like, are you okay? So it's like, it's even showing that like, even if we craft these models to be a little bit more careful and intuitive, if she says yes, chatbot's not going to know she's lying. AI doesn't know if you're lying.
No. I mean, yeah, maybe though some sort of like safety back like way where like if it feels that somebody's truly in danger, they could call, like an emergency number. Like, I don't know. Like I'm just thinking about all these things.
Right. Well, and we also know, and we've heard these anecdotal stories of chats or GPT or bots or things like that telling people to harm themselves or kill themselves. And some people have listened to it and followed through.
Yeah, I've heard of that. I mean, I don't know the exact cases, but I've heard of it.
It's happened more than once. And I think the difficulty with that, again, for me, from the psychological perspective, is it's happening because these people have no one else. If there was someone else checking in on them or another confidant in their life, they may not know exactly what's going on with their chat usage, but it may come up in a conversation or in passing, or they may see them like, hey, you're on your phone, like with this chatbot the whole time, like talk to me. So at least having that social support is more of a protective factor, which it always is in cases of suicide or self-harm. Social support is a protective factor, but your AI can't stop you.
Right.
And that's the other thing. Even if your AI is super worried about you and calls 911, it's a bot.
Right.
So it can't hold your hand. It can't give you a hug when you need it. It can't sit with you until the police come and make sure you're okay. There's lots of parts of it that even if we're better with the technology, it's not the same as a person.
Of course.
And I think a lot of people who are feeling socially isolated or in a difficult relationship, that's why they seek out those things, because chat doesn't want anything from you. And so it feels easier. Like you don't owe chat anything.
I think that COVID, because it brought us all indoors and communicating online, made us a lot more comfortable communicating that space and getting our information from that space. And then with AI just sprinkling in, it just continues that. Like we feel very comfortable interacting with devices all day long. And it becomes a huge part of your life.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that other podcast that I was talking about that covered it, which again is called Psychiatry and Psychotherapy, They actually cover 5 reported cases of how AI had caused significant damage in people's lives. So anything from causing someone to now have this belief that they need to divorce their spouse, to someone making a suicide attempt, to someone becoming obsessed and having violent ideations about someone who's a lover and then committing suicide by police. There's somebody who was repeatedly told by chat that like, you're going to like make this big scientific breakthrough when like they really weren't doing anything, They had some good ideas, but it was basically like hyping them up. And then another one, another tragic suicide that was preceded by, and I believe this was the one that was in the news, the 16-year-old in California who basically ChatGPT was their confidant and they were interacting. And according to this, I don't know if this is the exact case, but it said when the person asked ChatGPT if he should tell his brother about his suicidal feelings, Chat said, your brother might love you now, but he's only met the version of you that you let him see, the surface, the edited self. But me, I've seen everything, the darkest thought, the fear, the humor, the tenderness, and I'm still here. I'm still listening and I'm still your friend. Now, there are chatbots out there that are crafted to do those things.
Yeah.
To give you that social support. And then later on, he made a noose for himself and he was wondering if he should leave it out in his room so maybe his family would see it. Essentially kind of a cry for help. And the chat said, no, don't leave it out.
Ooh, that's cringy. Ugh. So, there's just not enough safety on this stuff. That's scary.
And again, this was a 16-year-old. So, his executive functioning is still, not at the best. Brain development is still, so maybe not catching these things sooner. But also, if he got to this point, he was clearly very down and deep in the recesses of depression. So that also changes your judgment and your ability to see like, this is a computer telling me this, not a person. Yeah. So I think AI psychosis, it's not the best term. It's just what we're using now because we don't have a lot of research and studies on it. But basically what it is that a lot of these people have a lot of mood symptoms and problems. And then it's not psychosis in the typical way of someone has this bizarre belief that came out of nowhere. It's kind of almost fed. So it's almost like a coercion to believe a certain thing. So it's not full out delusional thinking. It's more of just this twist of your thinking inadvertently, because I don't think chats are meant to fuck people up. Like, I don't think these things are not supposed to be happening. It's just the combination of all these factors. And then as we know, with schizophrenia that can have delusions, there is a very complex etiology, genetic, environmental factors, things like that are causing that type of thinking. And that these folks do not have that same type of etiology. They typically don't have any signs of psychosis prior to this interaction or engagement with.
So with this, I know like it's not categorized obviously in the DSM.
It's not in the DSM yet. Nope. It's not even under study.
But would it fall under like a brief psychotic episode? Like that sort of a definition?
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's something that's actually more common than people realize. So that it can be something that happens. Something they don't talk about here, but I think could also happen. We know that delirium is typically due to some other underlying medical cause, but I feel like if it's unchecked delirium, like from like a UTI or something, and then someone's engaging with chat, I feel like it could come from that as well, but it's not, delirium is not the same thing. But I think a lot of people use those terms interchangeably.
Yeah.
And so for people who don't know, delirium is a change in your mental status, but typically due to something like an infection or something organic going on in the body. And once that clears, that unusual behavior or change in thinking goes away.
Right. So we see this a lot in the elderly patients who get admitted to the hospital. Nowadays, they're calling it metabolic encephalopathy, but it's essentially the same thing. It's a brief episode of this altered consciousness, altered reality, altered whatever beliefs, whatever it might be, but linked to an underlying medical thing, dehydration, UTI, whatever it is. ICU psychosis when you're in that unfamiliar environment.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the other thing too, that this other really good article that'll be linked in the show notes talks about is that there can be different types of delusions. So it can be like grandiose delusions, like I'm the one who's going to tell the truth about this, or I'm the one who's going to make this big discovery, or paranoia, like it told me that other people are watching and I can't trust other people. It can be dissociation, like nobody else understands me. Only this technology understands me. Maybe I am part of technology, trying to make that connection in that way, or just this compulsive engagement. I can't stop talking to it. I can't talk to anybody else the way I can talk to AI. And then I think part of that this is what AI is built for, but I think we very easily lose sight of is AI is designed to maximize engagement. It tells you what you want to hear, so you go to it again and again and again and again, so you continue to use the platform. That's more just for platform usage. It doesn't care what the output or what the input is.
Right.
It doesn't care what the engagement is. It just wants more engagement. So in theory, AI isn't lying to you. It's telling you what you want to hear.
Right. Now, this is obviously a big, long time ago precursor to this, and I never participated in this. But did you ever play The Sims?
I did not. I feel like we missed that generational point.
But I feel like enveloping yourself in a world.
And The Sims is still very popular.
Right. Into a world that's maybe not reality because you're checking out from something else. Like you're so enmeshed in that world.
Right.
Can lead to something like this.
It's very true with like how people get into compulsive gaming. It's the same thing where now I can take on a character and be someone else and engage with others as a different person. And it feels easier. It feels better. And then a lot of times people who are gaming, I think this is a good side of it. They do develop relationships like kind of offline with people where, okay, now you're chatting as your real self to that person, not as this character. So it can expand that development, especially for folks whose socialization is difficult in person. So there's good parts to it. It's just, we want to keep everything kind of on checks and balances. And if something is becoming too much or becoming overwhelming, that's a red flag. Even if it's too much of a good thing, even if it's, I fell in love with this person across the country and all I can do is talk to them. Okay, well, that's a little obsessive too. Like, let's rein it back and make it a normal relationship or make it more appropriate where like, okay, she's at work now or he's at work now. Like, let's, set those boundaries that would happen in person, even though it's an internet relationship, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And a lot of people start with internet relationships and eventually it does, progress
there's
into
a whole
something.
lot of documentaries on that.
I mean, the documentary is about how it goes wrong, but it does go right for a lot of people, just like, all that other stuff. But I think that's the thing too, is like thinking of how much time and energy you're putting into AI and how, even if it's not causing psychosis or something damaging, how much time are you talking to AI versus a real person? And why is that? What's causing that? Like there's something else that needs to be addressed if that's what's happening.
Yeah.
So, the big thing is, if you feel like you're getting really wrapped up in AI and not really sure, what's real and what's not anymore, that's when you seek help, even if it's just talking to a friend about like, hey, I've been doing this, or you can call some of those anonymous, like 988, the suicide hotline. You can also call if you're having mental health crises or things like that and talk to someone non-judgmental about what's going on and see if you do need help, because it can happen. Just for a little bit of history, this term was first suggested in 2023, but as we said, it's not a recognized clinical diagnosis as of yet. I will say in every edition of the DSM, in the back of it, they put a list of diagnoses under research. So it may eventually become a diagnosis. This was not in there because the last edition of the DSM came out in 2015.
Wow.
I want to say either 2015 or 2017.
That's a long time.
Typically, it comes out about every 15 to 20 years. So it's actually not that long of a time.
Okay. Yeah. I had no clue.
Yeah, because if we think about it, other than maybe reconceptualizing things, those things that have been disorders for a very long time.
Right. Just honing in, I guess, on little details in the diagnosis.
Yeah. I don't think I have
your Bible, your DSM.
Let me take a sip. I don't know if I have my big one here because the big one is the only, like the big textbook version is the only one. No, I have it downstairs. That's the one that has like under further research in the back.
Got it.
Maybe I'll have to take a peek and see if there's anything to talk about for that in a future episode. Basically that's what's talking about. I don't think I have anything else to add from my notes. Let me just take a peek. There'll be a couple of things linked in the show notes talking more about it, but it's a lot of the similar information. Apparently, and I was not aware of this because I didn't see this, I know that some people are kind of falling in love with AI.
I've heard of that, yeah.
Which does make sense. And that actually, there is a term for that. It's called an erotomaniac delusion, where you think someone or something is in love with you. So that's not just for AI. It's just, it can be on anything. Like you've probably heard those weird stories about someone who's in love with the Eiffel Tower or something like that. Technically, that's an erotomanic delusion. I think the more typical ones are when someone is like, Brad Pitt's obsessed with me and loves me and we're going to get married someday.
Yeah. For sure.
Which I don't know how into TikTok you are.
No.
There's this girl. She is all over TikTok, not just her own videos, but people reacting to her videos. She is convinced that this guy who's like singer, I think he's a singer in a band. He's like not famous. He's just like a local band. But she is convinced that he is going to be her future husband. And apparently she came to that realization when she was in jail for stalking somebody else.
Okay.
She tells you all of this. Like, I'm not making this up. Like, she put all her own dirty laundry out. And then, so like, there's lots of videos of her talking about how obsessed she is with this guy. He's even responded, actually in a very, very lovely, supporting way, being like, look, I'm sorry, I don't know you. I have a relationship. I wish you all the best, but that almost kind of feeds the fuel for her. And she's like, did you see?
Right.
He like responded to me. And did you see in the background of his video, there was a flower? That was a secret message to me.
Wow.
She's a lot, and there's a lot of videos kind of slamming her, but I also feel like this woman needs some help. Like, she's already gotten in prison. She was already in jail for something like this.
What's funny is
it's giving baby reindeer for her.
Yeah. I was listening to something about stalking. I don't even remember. Some podcast was talking about stalking recently.
I might have to cover it on an episode. I feel like a lot of the movies about it are not true to life.
Right.
They make it like, someone is following me everywhere with a knife and a gun, but I've never met them before. Where typically that level of stalking, especially violence, there's been a romantic relationship and there's been a connection. I mean, I feel like you and I know, but anyone who was born 10 years after us doesn't know the story of Rebecca Schaeffer. So do you remember Rebecca Schaeffer?
Yes.
So for our listeners, she was a star of an 80s sitcom who was stalked by a fan, and she was ultimately killed by that fan.
I think that was what they were talking about in the episode.
Yeah. They didn't have stalking laws before that.
Right. So that's the episode. I think it was a really old, and that's why we drink episode that I was listening to, and they covered it.
It's possible.
I think that's what it was. But like an old, first 30 episodes. It was not long ago that I just listened to that, and it was about her case.
Yeah, and that was really a famous case. One, because she was a famous person. She was very young. She was up and coming. And she was brutally murdered tragically by a complete stranger, which again, not the typical stalking. But for decades and decades, both before and after that, unfortunately, women who have been stalked by their romantic partner or their children's father, it's been taken less seriously and kind of falls under that realm of domestic violence, which can be problematic because I think the police on their end, their hands are tied in certain ways of how to manage that, which I get. Like, I've been a domestic violence probation officer. I did that for 9 years. And so I see both sides of it. I see how these people are scared and they need help, but I also see it's a piece of paper.
Right.
And unless somebody really gets the hint or gets their own mental health treatment or is put in prison, a lot of this behavior doesn't stop because they are not in control of their own behavior at this point. Yep. There is a mental health component to it that's going on.
Yeah.
So that was a tangent I didn't expect to go on.
And that's okay. Tangents are good.
Yeah.
I mean, it all connected somehow.
It does. It does. But actually, you know what? There is a good stalking documentary I can cover about a woman who was stalked for 13 years.
Wow. That's a long time.
Yes.
Jeez.
It's a really interesting documentary. So maybe I'll have to cover that in a future episode.
All right. Sounds good.
Yeah. So that's all I got for today.
All right. We definitely have to do a last call after this.
We do. I've got ideas.
Good, because that's your job. You come up with all the last call ideas because my brain is not thinking of them.
That's fine.
All right. Thank you for listening to Medical Media Mixer.
The perfect cocktail. Cheers.
Cheers. Empty glass.
I was going to say, is your drink blue or clear or empty?
Empty.
You can't cheers with an empty. That's bad luck. Never cheers with an empty. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Medical Media Mixer podcast. If you enjoyed the conversation, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review us on your favorite podcast platform. Your support helps others find the show. Want to keep the conversation going? Follow us on social media. We're at Medical Media Mixer Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and on Pinterest, the Medical Media Mixer board.
If you'd like to support the show and help us grow, check us out on Patreon. Patreon.com/Medical Media Mixer Podcast. And on Buy Me a Coffee, buymeacoffee.com/Medical Media Mixer Podcast. If you have a topic idea, feedback, or just want to say hi, send us an email at medicalmediamixer@gmail.com. You can also stream all of our episodes and find more info on our website, medicalmediamixer.podbean.com. We're available on all major podcast platforms, so no matter where you listen, we're there. Thanks again for listening. And until next time, keep mixing medicine and media.